सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
Hey, friends. Hang in there. Hang in there. Sorry about yesterday's Thursday meeting not coming out. I allowed myself to take a bit of a break. And I will be taking a break for the next few weeks as far as interviews go, unless something organically happens. I'll be doing some shorties and some step work. Otherwise, the interviews will be on pause. How are you guys? How are you? Actually, think about it. How are you? Where are you at right now? Are you feeling comfortable in your skin? Are you right in your head? Are you right with others? Take a moment just to reflect about that. Or not. Yeah, well, you know why I said hang in there? Because even sometimes when we're feeling so deeply low and like nothing is ever going to work, and when is this all going to be over? If we're willing and we have the tools, and even if we don't have the tools, if we're willing to just hold on, say our prayers or not, it will pass. This too shall pass. Dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul. We may have many of them. Within a week's time, within a month's time, and within a year's time, we may have just one. Whatever it is, we all have them. Well, most of us, and anyone who's listening to this probably as well. If not, consider yourself someone with really good karma. Someone who's been well adjusted and can regulate their own emotions. That's a very fortunate place to be in this life, I imagine, because I have no idea what that's like. I mean, I do know what it's like in moments, but I don't know what that's like permanently. So, going through a really hard process, having those raw feelings that are just almost too much to bear. I don't know if you get that, but having those moments where you just want to crawl out of your own body, crawl out of your own skin, you're confined within your skin and your bones. I get those. I get moments like that. And you could call it whatever you want. Some people call it trauma. Some people call it just got distracted. 2 bikes just rode by. Some people call it trauma. Some people call it PTSD. Some people call it ADHD. Whatever you want to call it. This emotional uncomfortability that becomes physical. It becomes embodied. So however you want to call that, I just call it actually material, illusionary consequence of acting on material, illusionary things, thinking in that way. Because of my conditioning, because of my karma, because of Kali Yuga, because of all of these things. This is not something, this is something that I've also noticed a lot, is that science and the Vedas, they're saying the same thing. They have just different terms and a little bit of a different background. And if you're broad-minded enough, you can meet those two. Those two can meet. The psyche, the soul, all of it can meet, and there's an explanation for all of it if that's what you're searching for. And I'm kind of, my whole life and my whole recovery life, I've been really searching for solutions. At first I didn't really know why, and I didn't really care. I just wanted a solution. I wanted relief. But now that I have that solution and I have a lot of relief, I tend to want to know why. The Vedas have all of the answers. It's all comprised in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita. The explanation of everything, because that's a collaboration. That's comprised from a whole bunch of different Vedas, like the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata. There's so many books that happened before and that are included in the Gita to give you one sort of summary. So exploring that to understand my position in the material world, and not only understanding my position in the material world, having tools in order to relieve myself from the pains of this material world. It's been so important. And it's that balance. Sometimes, like the dark nights of the soul, which I've been having, especially with the changes that are happening in my life. Actually, I don't even want to personalize that. The changes that's been happening around me. And being able to meet those challenges of those changes and not take it personally, that's been the lesson here. There'll always be a little part of me that takes things personally, but I know better. And that's the difference. Sometimes we just got to get through that pain. And that pain is always just a self-realization. The pain is the realization of knowing exactly what my position here in this world is. And it is not a position of power, and it is not a position of knowing squat. It's a position of, I am a pure spirit soul in a middle planet, struggling with whatever karma, whatever devious shit I did in my past life, dealing with that now, and learning to have the maturity, the spiritual maturity to handle these situations. Whew. And I am definitely wired towards looking at what's missing and fixing it. And sometimes I get lost in that detail. And that's not somewhere I want to be. If I look around here, there's so much to fix. The world just keeps turning. And if I'm running around trying to figure out how I can make it so that I'm comfortable, I'm going to be running around all the time. There was an expression that I used to say, and I just thought about it now. It's easier to I've learned how to put on slippers instead of carpeting the whole world. And those slippers are a program. And for me, studying the Vedas, practicing the Vedas to the best of my ability on a daily basis. And actually, what I'm doing now is part of my sadhana. I appreciate everyone saying, oh, it's so great. Some people really, oh, it's so great. So what a great service you're doing. Yes, thank you for saying that. But this is really also for me and for my betterment. It's really nice to have this platform. It's a win-win. If anybody, just one person can take one sentence, one little nug, then I'm happy. I'm a fortunate soul. In a kind of a hellish situation. I'm here in the woods, and I talk about this every time I do these. I need to be in the woods. I love it here. It's peaceful. There's nothing for me here to change. I don't stand in the woods and say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if there was a lawn here? Wouldn't it be nice if I, No, I just look at it. And I am in wonder about the lush, beautiful life that's here. And I have nothing to do with it. I'm just here to enjoy it. That's where I want to be in life. I want to be able to look at everything that way. And I come here to remind myself. Life happens. Plants will grow as plants. Trees will grow as trees. I don't think I've ever stood in front of a tree and been like, why are you like that tree? It grows. I accept it. Everyone accepts it. It's just there. From my perspective. What happens amongst the forest, within the forest, I'm sure that there's so much communication that we do not understand. But from my perspective, and that's all I have. And that's why it's important for me to work on that perspective. Open that up. Open that perspective up. I think the Vedas are such a broad, it's really the explanation of everything. The perfect explanation of everything. And I would be doing myself a disservice by narrowing it down to something I think I understand. What I do understand is what I understand, which is always up to revision. And to understand that I don't know most everything. I don't know if the bushes are talking to the trees. There's some scientific evidence that trees communicate within, with their roots and help each other. That's just like one little thing. Who knows what's going on, the miracles that are going on all the time. Albert Einstein said, either nothing is a miracle or everything is a miracle. And I so agree with that. Either nothing is a miracle or everything is a miracle. How wonderful. Anyway, friends and haters, I don't want to say that. I hope there's no haters out there for me. I wish all of you the most incredible day, the most incredible week. Forgive me for not delivering the interviews, but I am definitely kind of coming out the other end of a lesson. So I need that time to reflect. And like I said, if something happens organically, great. But just count on the shorties for the next couple of weeks. Okay, my friends, I love you all. Have a great week. Haribol.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.